Hey guys, Dan from Alliance Contracting here. Today I'm going to show you how to hook up your Boss V-Plow. You're going to want to unhook your plow on a level, hard surface. If you do it outside in the gravel or on the earth, while it's frozen, it could thaw out and the plow could settle and change the alignment from the plow to the truck frame side. So I recommend putting it on some sort of blocks, concrete, something hard, something that you know is going to stay put. Like any Boss plow with the RT3 hitch system, you want to line the truck up with the plow like I did here. So what's going to happen, there's your push bar, and there's the plow. Those hooks are going to have to line up underneath these dowels. Let me show you how that's done. I'm going to gently pull forward until I feel the truck tap the plow. There, I feel it. So you want to take and turn the controller on up top till it glows green. Double tap the down and that automatically puts it in the float position. You have to have it in the float position to mount your plow up to the vehicle. Now that we're lined up, you can see the push bars into the plow frame. You're going to flip these levers here to the on position. If you're not sure, it's also labeled on the plow. Next, we're going to hook up our wires. I like to route the wires, if they're long enough, around the headgear on the plow. That way they don't hang down low and get full of snow and ice and get pulled apart in the middle of a snowstorm. When connecting the 13-pin connector here, make sure you're not going in on an angle like this. You risk bending those pins inside. You want to go in nice and straight with a firm push. Another little trick that I learned is I always connect these empty plugs together so they don't get full of snow and ice and water, and they stay relatively dry. When you're ready to disconnect the plow, you can put the caps back onto the wiring. So now with everything hooked up and your plow controller is in the float position, you go down to this headgear switch and you stand back because the headlights are going to move. Lift it up until these pins slide in and make sure that red latch is down. The plow is now on. So the last step, remember, on the dash with the Boss plows, flip your headlight switch from truck down to plow. So I like to take my plow controller and wedge it between the driver's seat and the center seat, and it stays there pretty nice. So a couple tricks are double tap up, the blade will raise up automatically. Double tap down, it puts it in float automatically and you don't have to sit there and hold it. Now with the V-Plow, to angle it, when you hit these two buttons together, it will angle the blade to the left just like a straight blade. Then when you hit the two buttons to the right like this together, it'll angle the blade just like a straight blade. So you hit the top and the bottom button together, and it'll act as one button for left and right. Otherwise, one button forward, one button back, folds the wing back. But when you do it together, it moves the blade just like a straight blade. So double tap, back down into float mode, shut the controller off when you're not using it. There you have it. The other super critical thing on your V-Plow is make sure you lubricate the center hinge. There's little lubrication holes periodically in it right there. And then you want to watch your cutting edges. You don't want these to wear into this. Then the repairs get really expensive. So keep an eye on your cutting edges here on any V-Plow. This is the most crucial area. On this particular V-Plow, out of all 5 of our plows, this is the only one I'm running shoes on. That's mainly because I have a lot of gravel here to plow. It kind of helps the plow float up and ride over the gravel. It still digs in somewhat, so it's not perfect. But when you hear the gravel crunching while you're plowing, just kind of lift up a little bit and make adjustments. For each use, I wash my plow thoroughly, let it dry, then I spray it down with this Rain-X Mud-X. It's a protectant spray that repels mud, water, protects against UV rays, and all that good stuff. The other cool thing is, not only does it make your plow shiny, but it also makes the snow not stick as good as it would before. So it keeps the plow cleaner, it protects. It also oozes into all the joints and the cracks, offers corrosion resistance, and it'll keep your plow looking newer longer. Boss plows are pretty good about labeling their plows. They have a bunch of diagrams on here, so if you need reminders of how to put it on, take it off. They also have the speed limitations here. They recommend no faster than 40 miles an hour with this EXT plow on. Most plows are either 40 or 45, they should be labeled. So one thing I want to also cover is the red part here, this is the moldboard. The black is the cutting edge. This black part with the headlights is considered the headgear. Most of the newer Boss plows are RT3. That's the smart hitch style that refers to how they connect to the truck. So the part under the truck there with the white Boss on it is the push beam. And then I always call the parts that hook onto the push beam the receiver hitch or the receiver horns. You can see on the V-Plow it also recommends going less than 40 miles an hour during travel. If you go faster than that, you risk damaging the plow, overheating your vehicle, or causing other permanent injury or death. So I'm told. When parking your truck with the plow on, always put it in the float position. Let the plow down so it's not straining the hydraulics while your truck is parked. When you get a heavy snow, I always line up the non-windrow side headlight with my windrow edge. I'm grabbing about 3/4 width of the plow worth of snow to push. If you take any more of a bite, you risk spilling over to where you already plowed. Also, it's important to remember, never ram a snow pile. So what I do is when I'm coming up to the pile, I start to let off the throttle and I slow down and let the snow stop me and lift the plow as I push into the pile. I'm stopping essentially without even using the brakes. So there's always that one car that's randomly parked. We're gonna have to deal with that. But first, when I'm coming up to the pile, I have my blade angled. And as I come up to the pile, I hit the 2 left buttons, bring the blade straight, come up to the pile. Now you always wanna push your snow back, so sometimes I lift the blade up and then give it a little gas to kind of nudge that snow up over the curb. That's especially important if you're getting a lot of snow or if you're expecting more snow. You gotta have room to push it. We're just gonna work around this car. I'm gonna keep pushing this way on the left side of it. And then I'll have to back up and change directions. If you go slow enough, you can actually feel things with the plow. When the cutting edge hits a curb or a bump or a pothole or even a lip. The key is just to go slow and let the plow do the talking. When doing these entranceways, instead of backing out into traffic on a busy highway, I do like a crisscross. So I'll come in here, kind of plow like in an X pattern, come out, and just turn and swoop. Be careful you don't block any city sidewalks if there's any buried under there. And I just go back and forth and clean up the entranceway from the inside, and then you can just touch it up on the outside with minimal intrusion on oncoming traffic. All right, we're all done plowing, so it's time to take the plow off. Basically, it comes off in the exact reverse order that you put it on. So the first thing we're gonna do is turn our controller on, double tap the down button to put it in float mode. Before you do this, make sure there's nothing around the plow that the plow can hit because it's gonna drop. So we're in float mode, let's get out. So we know we have to have the controller in float mode to put power to the headgear switch here. We're gonna take and hit the levers to the off position. That releases the red safety latch. So then, standing clear of the headlights, I'm gonna lift up, pops those pins out, and usually it just falls from the weight. If it doesn't come down, if you have a little bit of a bind, You can tap the switch down. That'll use hydraulic pressure to bring the headgear down. Now, since this is a V-plow, we don't have a kickstand, we're just going to disconnect our wiring. With the wiring disconnected and the protective caps back on, we're now clear to back away from the plow. I just want to add that make sure you're on a level, hard surface, otherwise the plow push beam can bind in the plow frame or the plow hitch, causing it not to come off the truck. It's also very important to have the proper height of your push beam and your plow set up so that it goes on and off without trouble. So just like that, without any trouble, the plow should pop right off the truck. One nice thing about these Boss plows, as long as your plow has the RT3 hitch setup, any plow pretty much fits on any truck. The HTX plows do not fit. The mounts look similar, but everything is a lighter gauge steel construction, and the spacing is narrower than what these RT3 smart hitches are. So the plows might look identical, the push beams might look identical, but they will not interchange. Thanks for watching. Hopefully I gave you some good tips. Please hit that subscribe button. I really appreciate it.